Okay, what's happening, everyone? Thank you. We see a bunch of you jumping in live already, so welcome. I'm excited about today. There's a lot to announce. There's a lot to go through. It's changing every day on Amazon right now with all the Rufus things happening and algorithms and everything else. So it's pretty exciting right now just to see like day to day how things are. And I'm obviously here to help keep you up to speed on everything on that front. So I'm excited about today, and I'm excited about our guests. Greg Elfrink. Anyone here who's an Amazon seller or an e-commerce seller wants to know this guy, because he's the guy who's going to help you sell your business when you're ready. We always talk about that the entrepreneur's birthday is the time they sell their first company, right? Their first of many, hopefully. So this is the guy you want to know. So I'm pretty excited, man. We've spent a little bit of time chatting, and you got some deep knowledge here, and I'm excited for you to share. And we have a good collective audience here. So welcome everyone, and welcome Greg.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll be able to add some knowledge to help a lot of people in this chat have their birthday. So that'd be great.
Yeah, well, all of us think about Christmas, but the entrepreneur birthday. We need another roll around with these aggregators wanting to buy Amazon businesses, and everyone can make a bunch.
They made it into my little presentation. I have a little gravestone for them.
Good. Okay, so I see a bunch of people coming in here. Lonnie, B, Felix, Robert. Tell us where you're from, by the way. It's always cool to see around the world where everyone's coming in from. So it'd be cool to see some countries here or cities. Prasanth, thank you. All right, so this is how we're going to roll today. It's going to be an hour. We keep it as short and sweet as we can. We have two today. This is behind the agency curtains. Or elite people in our space who get to share behind the scenes secrets, really to help you with your Amazon business. We sometimes we have three speakers. Today we have two, so we'll have a little bit more time to talk through what we want to share today. And it's more of a fireside chat. So Greg and I will talk. We want to talk with you. So everyone here, put your questions into the chat. Comments. The more we can get from you, the more we can help you. It doesn't have to be specifically just on the topics we're talking about. It can be anything, or comments or ideas you have. Share them there. Let's make this an all-way conversation with all of us. I'm going to start, and I'm going to talk about Rufus and the new Cosmo algorithm. So probably a bunch on here have heard me talk about this, because it is truly our focus right now, and where we're seeing massive growth and massive value that we bring to our customers. But of course, I want to keep it exciting and different, and the space is evolving all the time. So, today, what I want to do is I actually want to jump on and go through a comparison between ChatGPT and Rufus, and show you a brand new product that we have called the Cosmo Readiness Report, which is a scoring report where you can score your listing to actually see how it scores for the new algorithm. I'm going to talk about what the algorithm is in a second, in case there are new users here who don't understand what that is. That's going to be announced as a free product that we're going to give to everyone. We want to help you to understand how your listings score, and how to improve it. So that's going to be pretty exciting. I'll chat that through with you. And then we're going to look at some performance reporting and case studies around some of the brands that we've optimized, Cosmo and Rufus, and how they're performing. So we'll chat on that and cover a little bit of that. That thing is there to show you how we track and to show you the performance, and obviously to see that it's actually working. But I want to spend more time on some of the insights around Cosmo and Rufus. And more importantly, we have a Cosmo transformation product that will literally allow you to submit ASINs and get them rewritten, transformed to improve your human conversion, and your ideal target and how it converts, but most importantly, map for the new algorithm. And I'm going to talk a bunch about that. So that's me. I'm going to cover. Greg, give us a high level on what you want to cover, and then we'll jump into it.
I'm going to teach you all out of $1 million birthday when you go grow your business.
Just $1 million? Come on.
Well, it depends. At least $1 million. Hopefully, let's start there. But I will say everything that John says actually plays into what I do. So if you guys don't know who I am, I have a little intro slide. But in case you don't know, I'm the head of marketing over at Empire Flippers. I've helped make 93 millionaires at this point. at the moment of exit, like over 500 million transaction comes to like this new Rufus stuff, which I didn't even know about him. But I had a chat. He's like, I thought you guys saw a lot of Amazon stuff. Like, well, we saw a lot of businesses. I don't know all the intricacies, but the stuff he's going to teach you to improve your listing, that all has a direct impact on what I help you do, which is actually exit your business, right? The more you can improve that listing, the bigger your profit, the bigger your valuation is going to be. So I'm going to walk through in my presentation a bit about like what's going on in the market. I saw that Andrew has a really good question that I actually address in the economic uncertainty right now. But I'll also talk a bit about something that most brokers never really teach our sellers, which is the way buyers buy a business. Because you as a seller, if you understand the tools, at least some of the tools that buyers use to acquire something, you can actually use those same tools to get the buyer to pay you a whole lot more up front, which is what we all want at the end of the day, right? So that's going to be the crux of my little presentation, and kind of like a storyline of the market of what's been going on in the last few years with Amazon FBA.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think, I've been in this business long enough and spent a lot of time, talking with different owners of Amazon businesses. And, a lot of the advice I give, is around, one, how do you make sure your business, the more you can expand just beyond Amazon, the more value you can bring to your business. And clearly in today's world, especially with LLMs and what's happening and GEO, having outside of Amazon is critical to your whole business as a whole. And you're setting an e-commerce brand, not an Amazon brand, hopefully, right? That has multiples. Absolutely. And then how you structure that in that deal, and the things that you do around your business, and the structure and the discipline and everything that you do around that absolutely adds value to the business. So there's going to be some really cool things.
John,
even if you're not thinking about
presentation already, dude, you're stealing all my thunder.
Sorry, dude.
I'm not going to look like an expert anymore. What are you doing?
I love this stuff around. All right, cool. All right, so a couple more shout outs and then we'll get going. So Robert, New York, Gary, Los Angeles, Noel, Ian Stiller, what's up, man? He's in Los Angeles, cool dude. Nicola, Travis, Hawaii, Spain, Palmer, oh cool, London, nice. All of these things, some good questions coming in already. What is GEO? GEO is generative engine optimization. So it's kind of SEO. It's the new kind of buzzword for optimization, but your optimization for LLMs, it's not just typical search engines, right? So, ChatGPT, Perplexity, how do you make sure that your listings have more, visibility? Rufus is, which we're experts in, which is Amazon GEO, right? So how do you get more visibility and search for your listings across, the movement of search from this kind of intent-based SERP results, organic results, to conversational search with and LLM agent, Rufus, etc. Right? So we're going to talk a bit about that. So let me jump in. Yes, you get a recording, 100%. You're going to get that. You're going to get a post-email webinar, post-email after the webinar as well. We're also going to drop in some exciting stuff that I'm going to talk about today that is brand new, that's coming out tomorrow. So you're going to get access to that first as well, which is cool. I'm going to jump in. Let's get going. All right. Greg, your job when I talk is to listen and also to keep me on time. If I'm rolling on time for a while and laboring on, you can just say, John, it's time, my friend, it's time. So I'm going to put a timer on. Yeah.
I have to interrupt you, John. These people need to sell with me right now. Yeah. No worries, dude. You do your thing.
Okay, let me pull this to the side. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Time screen. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen. Everything looks good.
Yep.
Yeah, looks good. Okay. All right. Evo on the back. Thank you again for all your help. And if you need me, just shout. I want to just put you, I can see the comments coming up as well. Okay, cool. Okay, let's get going. So great, we've done the intro slide. Let's move on from there. I'm going to click forward. If you don't know Zongu, we really are an intelligence tool set for brands that sell on Amazon and for agencies that help clients grow on Amazon. We are really engineered to meet Amazon's AI moment, which is happening now, and the shift from the traditional A9 algorithm to the Cosmo algorithm and the Rufus conversational search experience. Amazon GEO is where we specialize. So, how do you create the best listings that can give you the most visibility on Amazon through all the different ways you can find products and the best conversion aspects to it. We help you with the content, with the images, and we have a bunch of other tools to help you with insights, with profitability. Check us out. That is who's on Gurriers. And we're going to talk obviously mostly about Cosmo and Rufus. I like to start these presentations with an unpopular opinion. And this is one, let's just read it out. Rufus isn't just Amazon's chatbot. It's now the highest converting sales rep in e-commerce. It's a pretty ballsy statement, but there's an article out from TechCrunch, I think 2 days ago, talking about Black Friday and Rufus. And there's some stats given out there, right? So on Black Friday, Amazon sessions with Rufus saw 100% surge versus the normal way of intent-based keyword searching only rising by 20%. So there is some real traction starting to happen with Rufus. Amazon announced, I said it last week, that they expect $10 billion in additional revenue from conversational search with Rufus. So they are all in on improving that experience and helping to compete with how people sometimes search today on ChatGPT. The other stat that was pretty cool, and this is the kind of the high converting sales agent. Rufus driven sessions converted 75% higher versus 35% without. So if people are engaging with Rufus and they're having a conversation, they're researching there, their chance of purchasing the product that's recommended is 75% higher than other ways, right? So if you can appear in that, you're golden. You're getting way more purchases, and over next year especially, the shift to more Rufus types of searches versus the traditional way of just typing a keyword is going to massively increase more and more, right? We know this is how people search today. So if it's recommended, you're in there. I'm going to talk about how you get recommended, and I'm going to show you what to do there. And if you're not AI readable and structured and mapped semantically, you're not being surfaced, and you're losing traffic, you're losing opportunity. And I'll give you a little bit of insider tip. You're not just losing visibility on Amazon, you're actually losing visibility on Perplexity, ChatGPT. They're looking for the same structure in listings, and if you're structured on Amazon in the right way, you have a better chance of surfacing in recommendations on ChatGPT. So this is a thing, it's real, you have to do it. Don't do the old school way of keyword stuffing on your listing. We have the solution, obviously, to help you to make sure that you mapped, and I'm going to jump in and show you a bunch of that today. Okay, so what am I talking about here? This think of it like this: A9 algorithm is Amazon's old algorithm that really just looks manually at your listings to see where you place keywords. Are you converting on those keywords? Are you exact match, broad matching, stuffing your listing with as many keywords as you want, right? Those days are over. They're gone. Amazon will ding you if you keyword stuff your listings for sure. There is still obviously a recognition of intent-based keywords from the A9 perspective. It's obviously always going to be intent-driven, but there's this aspect of Amazon now, which is conversational search, research, looking for experiences, engaging with the AI agent Rufus. And for it to do that, it needs a much more intelligent algorithm. That one is called Cosmo. And they have given white papers, which is what I'm showing you on the screen. There's like a knowledge graph mapping. And if you can technically map your listing to answer all the questions in the knowledge graph from Cosmo, your listing will then be matched to intent-based keywords, people typing in, semantically matched to the whole universe, plus obviously get recommended in Rufus. There's a few other things that happen, but in simplistic terms, that's how it works, right? So the cool part about this, and this is which is awesome, is like finally, we as sellers have the ability to map our content to this and then forget about keyword stuffing, ingredient-based listings. We can let our listings breathe, actually talk about why we're different, why we connect better with customers looking to buy our product, why they should buy us, all the cool things that us as brands should be doing. We can now do in our copy, our images, our EVC content, right? So it is a really cool place to be, but you have to make sure you're technically mapped. That's not a really easy thing to be able to judge. The cool thing is that AI and what we've developed can do that for you. I'm going to show you. Okay. Where are we in this journey, right? We can tell you right now that Amazon is still, using some of the A9 capabilities because it drives sales for them, and it's their way of making sure in the organic side that you're surfacing. So there is some aspect of the A9 that is still being used, but Cosmo is becoming stronger and stronger. We're seeing it right now. A9, all listings that are older than 6 months are dropping in rank. When you're optimizing this, your sessions increase. And I can guarantee you Q1 of next year, this is going to be a real push. And if you're not there, you're getting left behind. Your competitors are beating you. So you need to make sure that you are mapped for sure, and taking the opportunity to update your images, your listings, your copy and your images, right? So again, you might be feeling some softness now on your Q4 sales, getting ready for Q1. This is something you need to do. We have big agencies that are coming on and saying, hey, how do we do 100, 1,000 of these? How do we transform these listings? Because we want to make sure that we're mapped in the right way, and we're helping them, right? So if you're an individual seller or a brand, you need to be on board, especially going into Q1. This is the service that we have, right? So it's called the Cosmo Transformation Service. You don't have to have a subscription with us. We literally sell it on a per ASIN basis. It is a very cool product. It's a AI semantic engine platform that we've built. It has many agents and humans that help you with the transformation of your listing. What is really cool about it is we use AI in the right way. One, we give you the ability to input and control and teach the agents. But two, we do some really deep research around your niche, surface all of the things that customers are looking for, customer sentiments, and give you a listing that improves your human conversion, the actual ability for your listing to communicate the differences in needs and how to convert. And then we AI map that to give you the most sessions, right? There's a bunch here. On our homepage, you can literally click, or I'm going to give you a link at the end here. You can click on that. You can see everything about what the service is and what you get at the end. I'm going to show you also what you get at the end. And I think the last point on this, which I kind of mentioned earlier, is if you structure your listing in the correct way to AI map for the new Cosmo algorithm, it's a no-brainer. Amazon's copying what I've done on other LLMs, right? So Perplexity, ChatGPT, they're looking for that same kind of mapping. So if you map well, your ability to surface in results across those other platforms is higher, which will help. Now, there's other things around GEO, getting recommendations, Reddit, Quora, all of those kind of things, yes. But structurally sound listings are going to give you that better shot, right? So you need to do this for sure, and it will help you. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, I know there's a bunch happening in the chat here, but if you have an ASIN that you want us to actually score live right now, if you're brave enough, or if you just want some free advertising with everyone here about your product, drop your ASIN literally into the chat. I'm going to bring it up and I'll run an actual live scoring in our new product that he's going to get released in the next couple of days. So drop your ASIN in there. We'll bring it up. So I see a bunch in here. So okay, we've got a couple coming in here. Next generation probiotics and people. So drop your ASINs in. I'll choose one in a second, and then we'll jump up and show you what that is. But what I want to do right now is actually just go into Amazon and just show you an example, right? And I want to show you a couple of really interesting things that I think will be useful for you. This is the mapping that we do on our side. It's over 15 different categories from that technical Cosmo mapping. We do it all across. Rufus is over 20 different categories that we map you for as well. And I want to jump in right now. Hopefully, if I change my screen, let's see if I want to see if this pops up. Yeah, okay, it does. That's great. Okay, so what I want to do right now is a quick example, right? I've got into chat. So this is an experience that happens, and we all know this, right? You jump into ChatGPT, you ask a question, you get some recommendations, you get some insights, you like what you see. You get some recommended products probably, and then you're jumping over to Amazon, you're typing in Amazon, you're intent-based, and you're buying the product. That's a big use case that happens today. That is quickly evolving because obviously ChatGPT is integrating with Shopify, with Walmart. So they're starting to try and own that space where you can simply search inside of that LLM and you can buy the product right there, right? Amazon has to compete with that. Rufus is the competitor experience. They need to move quickly to own that experience, right? Because if they lose that and it's not a quality experience, they're going to lose traffic to these other platforms. So they're moving hard and fast. There's so much happening. I think Amazon announced today that they have a deep research mode on Rufus. So the experience is improving, and I can tell you in the last 3 months it's improved dramatically. I'm going to show you one right now. So I just did a search. I said, hey, I asked the question, for a 45-year-old man, health conscious and sports fitness focused, why should I be taking vitamin D3 plus K2? How does it help me, and what's the daily dose? Okay, ChatGPT comes back, right? Stronger muscles, bone density and joint protection, cardiovascular health, which is obviously a massive one that this helps you with. hormonal benefits, immune function, brain function. Okay, it gives you everything here. It gives you the dosage, and then it goes through and it gives you some recommendations. Omega D3, sports research vitamin D3 plus K2, pure encapsulations, Bronson vitamin D3. This is what's coming back from ChatGPT, right? How do you buy this? Okay, well, there's obviously some websites you can go to here which talk about it, but you're not buying there. Shopify is going to be integrating. You're going to buy it straight from here, or you're going to go over to Amazon. You go, okay, cool. Let's go over to Amazon. Type in vitamin D3 plus K2 for athletes. Look what's here. Sports research. It's up in the organic results. D3 plus K2. Dr. Berg's, right? The Pure, I think, is down here, right? Where did I say it? Pure is down here, etc. Right? So this is a typical way that you search. Now, what happens if I went into Rufus right here on the left and typed in the same thing? 45-year-old man, etc. These are the prompts that I get back, right? Bone health, cardiovascular, muscle function, immune system, and why it works together, how you should dose it, and then it gives recommendations. And look what it's giving: D3K2, right? It's giving that as a recommendation. So that experience on the left is actually getting pretty closer to what you're getting on this cool LLM on ChatGPT. They're improving this. If you went there 3 months ago, you wouldn't even have a closer experience. So they are all in. They're moving hard here. This is going to be something that's going to be used more. We just saw the stats from Black Friday. So how do you appear here? Now, what's interesting, there's a couple of things. One is, okay, so I'm seeing the D3 recommended here, but I'm not seeing ones like this or Dr. Berg, right? These ones are not popping up in the Rufus recommendation, right? So how do we make sure that we appear there? Or let's look at some of these listings, right? So I'm going to look at a Cosmo score in a second. But what I want to show you, some other interesting things here that are popping up, right? Where did I see it? I saw it here. Sources, Augment Life, Original Breath, right? Flawless Bloom, the Checkup, Cora, right? So this is pretty new, right? So Amazon's starting to show sources, not only from like, hey, how are you rated and recommended on the Amazon platform, but it's looking outside of that. So you as a brand, you need to make sure that if you have certifications, recommendations, awards, make sure that you're putting those in your listings or even appearing on those websites. That's going to help you a lot. But what we do also in our Cosmo transformation is we give you the opportunity to tell us about any awards, certifications, places that you've appeared or articles. We put that in, we recommend that and give you that as options to add to your EBC content. If you do that, you're going to get more recommendations on here. It's a big driver as well, right? So these are kind of things that you really should need to look at. All right, so let's jump over and look at one, right? So is the Cosmo readiness report for D3 plus K2. So we have a product right now. You just simply type in an ASIN. We're going to do that in a second. And it gives you this readiness report. 53 out of 100 is what it scores. It shows you the actual Cosmo semantic mapping, right, over here, where you get strong and weak, right, as a snapshot. And then on the Rufus Bio Q&A, it got 46%, right, and some of the questions that are answered, some of them that aren't, right. If you improve this, you will even appear more in Rufus, but you're getting some traction already, right, 46%. And then we get into a whole deep discussion showing you or information around like where you're strong, weak, and how to improve it. This is literally a free report that you can get. It'll tell you exactly how you can improve your listing, and it will tell you, you can go self-serve and improve your listing. So this is a very cool product. It's getting actually launched tomorrow, and look out for an announcement on this. Let's go over to another one. This was another one that actually appeared yesterday that I put in, but this was already the score on a droplet, right? They've got a much better Cosmo semantic mapping, better Rufus Q&A, right? But some of those listings that actually, like the Pure that was down in the organic, that didn't appear in the Rufus side, right? It's only got a 3% Rufus coverage, right? So if you can improve that and improve your semantic mapping in a much better way, the Cosmo semantic mapping, you have opportunities to appear. We tell you exactly where it is. This is all based on that white paper, the technical mapping, plus a whole bunch of other things that we know around the Rufus, and we give you this and we tell you how, right? A very cool report. You can pull this and literally check how you're doing straight off the bat. All right, let's grab an ASIN while I'm talking right now. See if I can grab one of these ASINs. You know what, it's hard for me. I don't know why, Evo, it's really impossible for me to copy that ASIN. So let me see if you can just drop that, I guess, into my Slack. Just grab one of those ASINs and drop in my Slack. That'll be helpful for me. So while I finish out, I'm going to come back and run that report and show you that. This is actually what the Cosmo Rufus product. It's an automatic cat feeder. We do the scoring, right? We then actually do the listing transformation. So there's a process you run through. We'll give you a link. You can do it. We do a whole transformation of your copy. We show you your old copy, your new copy, how it should be, and then we go into all of the reasons why and how it maps. So we show you, hey, how do we address the benefit focus? This is the cool part. We can move away from just feature focus to benefit focus. We show you how to map technically with the algorithm. We show you some A9 mapping that needs to happen as well for the main intent buyer keywords, brand voice alignment. Your brand tone can be added in as an agent so that it's written in your tone. We look at your ICP and how to connect better. There's a whole bunch in here. We give you a CSV with everything that you can upload to Amazon. And the other very cool part is we do it all across your images as well. So we take all your images, we look at your competitors, we compare them, we look at the narrative, and we come back with insights around exactly which image you should put into your carousel, what order, what copy should go over it, and we give you that all in the EBC content side as well. So there is a whole bunch here that is absolutely worth it. The feedback we get is unbelievable. People are saying we didn't see the forest from the trees. How do we actually stand out from the competition? You guys have told us exactly how to do it. We've mapped our listings. It is a quality listing and it's getting more sessions and results. And this is the kind of results that we get, which I know I needed to show you. We have a whole performance reporting. I know you can't see the detail on here, but there's performance reporting that will show you exactly when you push these listings live, how are they tracking, what's happening with your actual traffic, your sessions, how is that improving, how is your keyword ranking sticking on the intent-based side, and also all of the context around organic rank. So if you're pushing your PPC up or you're dropping your price, we'll make sure that we include that so we give you the context of why. And then we get results. So performance tracking like this, how's it going? This is a result over a 2-week period, 68% increase in sessions, 13% increase in niche rank. Conversion rate is up 18%. And that's all with a stable PPC spend, right? The most important thing is you're not going to see sessions go down. You're going to see them going up. We're tracking this across hundreds of listings. This is another one. Again, they dropped their price there as well, but PPC clicks up 70%, niche rank 104% up, sessions 36% up. So these are the kind of results we're getting. And obviously some customer feedback as well. I know I just got a few minutes, but if I can get that ASIN, let's see, I'll probably have it here. Let's just run one while I go over the offer, and then we'll come back and look at it. So let me grab this. Noel, okay, Noel, let's see. So let me exit this. Okay, so this is the product I'm going to show you guys. This is actually, once you fill out the landing page, you're going to be getting this tomorrow for this product. You can just literally enter your ASIN, generate a report, and it's going to take a second, and it's going to do all of this work in the background and come back and actually give you the report. We're going to look at the results of that in a second. This is the offer. So you have a QR code you can scan here. If you want to get this offer, it's actually a winter special offer. It ends on January 1st. You're the first to hear about it. It's only going live tomorrow. But if you go onto this link, it's on google.link/Cosmo December 25 or DEC 25, and you fill out the form and you add this code. There's a place where you can add a coupon code, Cosmo DEC 25. You will get 25% discount. Each ASIN that you enter, you don't need a subscription, is $100 an ASIN, reduced to $75 per ASIN. You can submit 5, you can submit 100, whatever you want. We built this for bulk. I guarantee you will get the ROI on that listing the second you push that live. You're talking about $75, which is a couple of sales, and you're there depending on your product. The amount of information you're going to see around how to transform your listing, the insights, how to stand out from your competition, and literally how to get more traffic and conversions. You're going to see a bunch of that happening right off the bat. We get it from customers every single day. It is worthwhile doing. If you want to go ahead and do one, go ahead and do one. If you want to do 5, 10 off the bat, you can do that. This discount is not going to be around for a long time. It ends on December 1st, January 1st. So get in, use it, and I hope to help you guys transform, because this is coming right now. We're seeing it, and I guarantee you Q1 of next year, this is going to be real. So you need to get in and get these done. There are some additional bulk things. If you're going over 50, you can talk with support, and we'll help you convert those as well. So that's it. That's the offer. Let's go and check if this listing is live or this Cosmo transformation has happened. It should come up right now. It should be done already. Maybe I jumped over. That's why it hasn't. But typically, it's about one set expectations, say 2 to 3 minutes. So there we go. All right. So Cosmo Rufus readiness report for shower chair tub transfer bench with swivel seats. I tell you what, these kind of wow, good score. This is an awesome score. I don't even know if I've seen a score as high as this. So Noel, that is an epic score that you've got here. I love these kind of products. It's like these non-sexy products that sell amazingly. So I'm sure this does really well. But great listing, right? We don't see this often. 75% on the Cosmo mapping side of it. Maybe Noel, maybe you used our service. 86% on the Rufus Q&A coverage, right? And you can kind of see everything that's come through here, and then obviously well developed. I'll send you this. We'll download this PDF and we'll email it to you. So if you drop your email to us, Noel, we will certainly send you this so you get this free. And thanks for putting yours up. There are some gaps and a couple of things here that I think you can improve. But that is a pretty epic score. So congratulations. Probably one of the highest scores I've seen in the last couple of weeks. Anything over 70% is a pretty good score. So good. Okay. I'm going to jump over here. Let's see if there's anything else. All right. So if we have some more time at the end, I'll do another one, but I hope that makes sense. I know there'll probably be a bunch of questions will come in, but I'm going to jump over and let Greg take over and get to it.
All right. Well, that's a pretty slick software, man. Pretty you said launching tomorrow, yeah?
Well, the Cosmo, a few months, like we're literally the first in the space to do a lot of this work. So that you can get to us off that link. The actual scoring report, yeah, that's something we've been using internally and with some of our clients. But the actual public offer is going live tomorrow. You guys will get something in your email where you'll actually be able to try that. But yeah, we want to help brands to make sure that they understand how well they're optimized, and you will have a chance to do that and literally see either hit the panic meter or feel good about it. So
take all the cash to the bank like Noah. That's a high score, right? So it's interesting to me. My background's SEO, and like I'm seeing more and more with, like, it says you introduced Rufus to me. I'm seeing it like Amazon. What my FBA friends are doing is becoming very similar to what my SEO friends are now doing. So these two worlds are starting to like converge quite heavily. So that's interesting to me. Can you guys see my slides?
Okay, yeah,
awesome. So I put together a little slide deck for you guys here to take all the awesome knowledge that John just shared. Once you grow your company, to come on over to me I can help you have your birthday, as we talked about earlier. But again, this is just my intro slide. If you guys didn't know who I was, here's some like fast facts about Greg. I think one of the things I think is coolest is the weekly newsletter we do called This Week in M&A. So if you're not subscribed, definitely go check it out. I have a lot of people come up to me at conference time saying like this is one of the only newsletters that they read, which my content strategist loves it when I tell her that. So go and give her some props, reply to the email like, "You're great, Lauren." That'd be awesome. But yeah, we've done a lot of deals. We sold over 2,500 businesses at Empire Flippers, which gives us like a bit of a unique perspective on what is actually going on in the industry. Like if you talk to most brokers, they might be doing like 4 to 10 deals a year, and they might have a good like thumb on the industry, but they don't have a lot of data, like internal data, like what we have. And we represent every deal. I always joke that Empire Flippers is a false marketplace because we're really more of an M&A advisor. Like we represent pretty much every deal you see on Empire Flippers. There's no do-it-yourself. We are helping all of our sellers try to exit their business. So I thought, hey, this would be a cool thing to show John's audience of what's going on. So this is fresh data. Like no one has seen this, but you guys, you're the first to see it. So these are the stats, and they're slightly skewed because obviously 2025 isn't over yet, but it's pretty close. So we can probably look at apples to apples here. So in 2025, we sold 62 FBA businesses, which is significantly up from 2024, which was only 46 businesses. I think it was Robert or one person comment about what's going on with all the tariffs. No one was more afraid of it than us because we had switched, because with everything that was going on with AI, we had switched from content sites, which used to make up like 20-25% of our revenue to really double down on direct to consumer e-commerce like Shopify stores right as the tariffs came. Oh my God, we can't get a break. But surprisingly, it didn't affect sales as much as we all thought. So we actually ended up selling a lot more this year. As far as the other numbers, you'll see that there's a little bit of a depression going on with the numbers. With average monthly net profit is down a bit for this year versus last year. Average list price is down as well, though that is a bit of a different reason, which I'll get into. And average days on market is about the same as 2024. 2 days quicker is like roughly the same, right? In 2025, we did 3 7-figure deals. In 2024, we did 5. Now, what's interesting is both of these years, the average amount of products our sellers were selling was roughly around 33 SKUs. But I'll give you some insider baseball here because I want to help you be better than these averages that I'm showing you on these screens. One of the things that a lot of our buyers talk about is they love FBA businesses that don't have dozens and dozens of different products to manage, that are really focused on say 5 to 10, maybe 15 SKUs, but heavily focused where they can build a real brand. And that's going to become important based on something John said earlier and what I'm about to say as well. But I just added this last one in while John was talking because I thought, I want to show you what you can do. Like, you don't have to be average, right? Like, these numbers are across 62 deals of all sorts of business quality and deal size. But this business on the very last bullet point here is a $7 million deal that we just recently sold. It was on our marketplace for 19 days. It had a trademark. There's 20 NDAs. So that means within those 19 days, there's 20 different buyers that wanted to learn more about this business. And we sold it for a 42x multiple, which, as you can tell, is significantly higher than the 24x or 25x, basically, that the average is getting. So I always tell people, when you look at averages, just remember that's the average. You may not have an average business, right? You might have an exceptional business, and exceptional businesses creates exceptional exits. And doing something like what John is doing, I didn't even know what Rufus was until a few weeks ago when John and I were catching up. And I'm in the space, right? Of course, I'm in a lot of different business models, right? But there's an aggregator that told me that Amazon is like, you win by 1,000 cuts, like 1,000 little optimizations. And it's so true. So if you are able to become exceptional, you don't have to sell for average. And I'm going to show you a bit of what you can do to make sure you don't sell for average. So I did want to cover this timeline. I think someone mentioned aggregators in the chat. They're kind of like the haunting ghost of this industry, not that they're mostly gone. But this is a quick timeline of Amazon FBA when it comes to M&A. So, and I was there from the very beginning because Empire Flippers was the very first broker. I don't know of anyone else that was selling Amazon FBA businesses before us. Like, we used to have to go to Amazon's customer service manager and tell him we are allowed to sell Amazon FBA businesses because they thought we were selling like fraudulent accounts at first, like way back in the day, in like 2017. We would have people ask like, oh, why should I choose Empire Flippers over this other person? And our salesperson would take a screenshot of the other competitor saying Amazon FBA coming soon. Well, maybe that's one reason. Like, we're already selling them, right? So that was like pre-2019. Amazon FBA, still very, very new. Very few people even knew about it. And the people that were the sellers, like you guys, didn't even know you could sell it. A lot of people were still in this side hustle mindset where they didn't realize they were actually building something of enterprise value. You fast forward to 2020 to right around like mid 2023 or so, I'd say, you have the aggregator boom, which most of us, if we've been around for a few years, know very well. These people who raise billions of dollars to rush into this new market, as private equity often does. And it was such a rush, so much money being spent in there, it artificially inflated the values of Amazon FBA businesses. There was a time, I think it was in 2021, where we were selling $1 million business, like $1 million and up in terms of their valuation, every week to the aggregators. It was great, though I had to start competing in terms of my referral program because the aggregators like, hey, if you refer a deal to us, I'll give you a Tesla. Like, well, I can't do that, so I had to compete against that, which was difficult, but it was a really good market despite the aggregators being kind of like our competitors. And we were able to get a lot of our sellers basically SaaS multiples. Like, I sold a 60x Amazon FBA business back in the day, which is crazy, which leads to where we are or where we're about to go, which is 2023 to 2024, when all the aggregators realize, yeah, that was pretty crazy of me to buy an Amazon FBA business for a SaaS valuation. Now I'm broke, right? Because these guys are great at spreadsheets, but very bad at operations. A lot of them, they really good background in PE, not so good background in e-commerce. They really struggle in terms of operationalizing things. Now, I don't want to say that for all aggregators. There's still a few aggregators that come to Empire Flippers and buys businesses even to this day who are good at operations, but they were far and few between during the hype events that were 2020 and 2023. So what we see in the stats I shared in the last slide, like, wow, multiples seem to be dropping. And I would say, no, they're just coming back down to reality, because once the aggregators basically died out because they couldn't support that model anymore, the valuations came back down to the ground, back down to earth, right? Now, with that said, I tell all my sellers, like I have a lot of Amazon FBA friends, like, I'm just going to wait for another aggregator boom. And I always tell them, well, there's a good chance you'll never sell your business then, because the aggregator boom was made up of basically 3 different black swan events kind of all working together, which is a pretty magical thing in terms of what happened there. And I just don't see that happening again. Instead, what I see happening is what's happening in 2025 and what I think will continue to happen in 2026, where you're still going to be able to sell for a good multiple. Like multiples today are higher than they were in 2019 because people have, and like pre 2019, because people now understand the value of this business model. You'll most likely won't get a 2020 to 2023 kind of valuation, but you're still going to get rich when you sell your business at the end of the day, which is the main goal, right? I often joke because when a seller comes to me, they often have an outsized expectation of what their valuation is going to be. So I often joke, like, I help sellers wake up from this dream of this insane valuation they want back to reality, so I can actually make them, wealthy. Like, I can help them wake up becoming rich, right? So in 2025, what we're seeing with buyers is they're still out there. Obviously, we sold more businesses in 2025 than we did in 2024, which was right as that adjustment was really happening, when sellers realized like the aggregator party was over and they started readjusting their expectations and deal flow started getting done again. What we're seeing with buyers is they're a lot more conservative. So if you're going to sell your business, you really need to justify why should this buyer pay, X amount, like the $7 million deal I just talked about, right? What makes your business exceptional? So let's talk about how you make your business exceptional. How can you sell above average? It really comes down to what I like 3 different buckets. And the first one is fundability. So there's a guy talking about SBA in the chat earlier, and we sell businesses with SBA. In fact, the business that we just sold was partially financed through the SBA. And the reason why that was able to sell so quickly is because the seller had already lined up the financing before he even came to us, which was very smart on him. I wish more sellers would do this. So what you can do to help your own business to get this like fundability is go to an SBA lender. If you need one, reach out to me. I have a lot of friends who are SBA lenders, and just ask the lender, like, hey, would you like look at my business and tell me if it would be pre-approved for an SBA acquisition loan and what that might look like? Now, he might come back and say, oh, it's not. You need to do X, Y, and Z. And you'd rather know X, Y, and Z now before you come to Greg and try to sell the business. Because if you come to Greg before you know that, like, we can help you do it, of course, but it can slow down the process because you might have to change some significant things about your business. One of the very common traps when it comes to SBA is, we're all entrepreneurs. We want to lower how much we're spending on taxes, all that kind of good stuff, right? So our tax returns come back and they don't really match the P&L, and that sends red flags everywhere to the SBA because these things really need to be lined up. So you often have to go through this painful reconciliation process. So before you even sell, consider that aspect. Like, can I get a pre-approved like SBA lender looking at my business to see what I can do? Now, there's another aspect of fundability, which I'll get into the next slide, but is understanding how buyers buy businesses. So have you ever seen the YouTube gurus talking about like zero money down deals of buying a business, right? It's very sexy clickbait stuff, but those things do exist. They're real. In fact, we've sold a business for $0 out of pocket for the buyer. Now, they're very rare and it's more of an advanced deal. And you might be wondering, like, well, how does someone do that? And it's through fundability, understanding what parts of your business can actually afford financing, which can bring money out by the strength of your business and into your pocket. and the buyer takes the risk for that loan, basically, right? So that's fundability. We'll get into a little bit more of that in the next slide. But the next one is platform de-risking. So like I mentioned earlier, this year we went really hardcore into direct to consumer, and we sold a $13.5 million Shopify store not too long ago. Well, I guess at the beginning of the year. And one of the things I always challenge my Amazon FBA friends is something I say to actually my SEO affiliate friends as well, and they're feeling a lot of the pain as well with what's going on with AI right now. Is you shouldn't look at your business as an Amazon FBA business. You should look at business. And one of the big things, and this goes back to like how do buyers buy? One of the things that a buyer will look at is like, what are the big risks in this business? And the less risky you are, the more premium your valuation is going to be. And unfortunately, for a pure Amazon FBA business, its greatest strength, which is Amazon, all the awesome traffic you can get on Amazon, this high converting, all that kind of really good stuff that we all love, the whole reason why we're on Amazon, right, is also its critical point of weakness. You have massive platform risk. And this is something the aggregators like really felt once the competition went really, really deep and really, really hard, right? So I always tell people, if you can find a way to grow off of Amazon as well and show sustainability and the ability for your brand to thrive, that shows your brand has some real strength behind it. And I'm not saying it has to be like 70% D2C or anything like that, but 25%, 30% can make a very big difference to your valuation. And sometimes it doesn't necessarily even have to be off of Amazon. So for example, I was just at a conference last month where I was speaking, and I met these e-commerce entrepreneurs who I won't say their products. I don't want to give any like competitive research away, but they were making their product, and they actually make their own product in America. And that because they have warehouses all across America with the United States with their factories, they're able to actually collect the customer data off of Amazon versus like historically that's always been really difficult for Amazon sellers to collect. So finding a way where you can de-risk away from Amazon, ideally where you can sell off of platform, but also other ways where you're starting to collect that customer data, where you can start really building that moat where it's not just locked up behind Amazon's curtain, are all ways you can help de-risk, especially if you're using that email list to grow that DTC thing, the DTC side. Another way I've had my FBA friends do this over time is they start adjusting their marketing budgets to where they're spending a lot more money on the DTC side. I'll give you an example is usually the easiest. So let's say you're selling running shoes or something, right? You're running these meta ads or TikTok ads or whatever it is, and a guy who sees it like, oh, those are really cool. Maybe they click and go to your Shopify store or your TikTok shop or whatever it is, and then they don't buy for whatever reason. It happens all the time, right? This is why we have retargeting, abandoned carts, all that stuff. Let's say that doesn't work. Well, we've gotten this guy excited to buy running shoes. He doesn't remember your brand because, memory of a goldfish in terms of our attention spans this time, right? But he still really wants running shoes. What is the natural reaction? Oh, I'm in the market for running shoes. I don't remember what I saw, but I'm sure Amazon has something cool. So they'll go to Amazon, type in the running shoes that probably sound very similar to your product. And now maybe they're going to type into Rufus and find it even easier because now they can describe every aspect of this cool shoe they saw in that TikTok ad. And who pops up? It's your shoe. Like, that's the one I saw. And they'll go and buy it. So you can start using Amazon as you grow the other channel as almost like your retargeting catch-all when the other systems don't work, right? And that's something I've seen work really, really well at like the bigger scale of everything. So that's the de-risk. The other thing I would say is high margins. I know everyone wants a high margin business, but the more you can make your business have these higher margins, one, it allows you to spend more than your competitor. So that allows you to market more aggressively than your competitor, which usually means you'll end up winning as long as you have a good or a comparable product. But the other thing, the secret when it comes to selling, a high margin business can also handle a lot more debt. And a lot more buyers are levering up to acquire businesses, right? So if you have these higher margins, you suddenly go back to the circle number one, the fundability. And if you have good fundability, guess what happens to your multiple? It goes up because the buyer can leverage other people's money instead of their money, right? So when it comes to high margin, think about everything that you're doing. from the source of your product all the way to your marketing funnel, all the ads, right? So your suppliers, logistics, even things like packaging. We had this buyer, he bought a business from us this years ago, and he looked at the packaging that the seller had, and he was able to shave off just like inconsequential amounts in terms of the sizing of the packaging without like hurting the positioning or the brand or whatever. I think he also might have changed the material a little bit, and he was able to save quite a lot of pennies per unit. I think above 20 cents per unit or something like that. The package was costing him something that great. Like, okay, big whoop. But he was also doing massive volume. So when you like multiply the cost savings of the packaging that he had, that was now also taking up less shelf space in the actual warehouses because of the way it was designed, he was able to save tons of money and grow the net profit of that business pretty significantly just from this one little optimization. So you want to go through everything and ask, how can I make this better, cheaper, faster, right? To try to breed more of those margins. And one of the biggest tricks that most people don't ever do, but my buyers do all the time, is pricing. People, entrepreneurs are like tend to undercharge what they're actually worth. It's like, oh, I'll get them by being cheap, even though the only benefit of you being the cheap product is if you have the best distribution. Like, no one goes to the second cheapest product usually, right? They go to the first. Like, that's the whole point of it, right? So it's almost always better to position your products in the premium space, because that's going to increase your margins. You're going to be able to treat your customers better, and it's going to be way easier to sell your business because it's high margins. Because the other thing that high margins gives that buyer, say something bad happens, what is the buyer thinking about? They're thinking about all the risk that they're giving you all this money for the opportunity to inherit, right? So the more margin you have in your business, the more safety they feel, because like, hey, this business can drop by 30-40% and we're still going to be good. We can weather that storm. That's a really good sign for a buyer. It's one of the reasons why buyers also, by the way, they look at age. So I don't have this on the slide, but the way that buyers, like savvy buyers, I should say, they look at age as kind of like a prediction of future performance. So if you have a business that's 10 years old, you're going to get a significantly better multiple on average than a business that's 3 or 4 years old. Even sometimes if that 3 or 4 year old business is making a whole lot more money, because just the way the statistics go down. But back to pricing, I have a buyer, he bought a software business from us, old business, 20-year-old business. Why? It's one of the big reasons he bought it. He just updated pricing and he increased the enterprise value of that business in a year by $1 million. Similarly, I have an Amazon FBA guy. He bought a $180,000 Amazon FBA business from us. And 22 months later, by adjusting pricing and doing everything I'm talking about here, as well as reinvesting heavy into marketing, that $180,000 Amazon FBA business he bought from us, 22 months later, he's selling it for us, selling it with us. I think for like I think it's $1.2 million now. Not a bad return on investment, right? But you can position your businesses to be that kind of investment if you're thinking through all this stuff. So my last slide here is just some acquisition tools to get the brain thinking. This is by no means like all of them. There are literally dozens of ways to buy a business, but these are like the most common, especially with e-commerce. So SBA financing, I already went over, right? Reach out to your lender, see what you could get approved for. That's going to give you ammunition. So the reason why I tell my sellers to look at acquisition tools is because a buyer, what's their incentive? They want to buy you for as low as possible. My incentive is to sell you for as high as possible, right? So if a buyer comes, sees your $1 million business, like, hey man, I only have $300,000 to put down, you can come back with that pre-approval letter. Great, I got a way for you to pay $950,000, right? Like, yeah, there's a path for you to pay me more and still even use less than your $300K you were originally going to give me, right? They're only using $50K in that deal just because you understand your approval for the SBA financing. So you can reverse engineer the same buyer tools that buyers use to spend less money to get them actually to spend more money with you, right? Now, the other two that are really, really common in my industry is seller financing, earnout. And while they're cousins, their usefulness is a little bit different. So seller financing, you'll most likely just have to accept that as a reality. You're probably not going to get rid of that. Usually what we're seeing is 20 to 40%, depending on business quality, paid out over 2 to 3 years. But again, if you know SBA financing, that might be as low as 10% or even 5% of seller financing. But most buyers, especially now, because they're more hesitant, they want to know that you believe in the business. So I have buyers that refuse to buy anything, even if it's super quality, if the seller won't commit to at least 20% seller financing. Because to them, that's a massive red flag. Like, dude, like, you don't think your business is going to be doing good in 2 or 3 years? Like, you don't think it's that strong? And of course, the seller will say, well, I don't know how good you're going to do, right? So this is a game of cat and mouse where you got to compromise a bit with the buyer, right? Earnouts is a little bit different. So same exact concept. You're not going to get paid up front, just like the seller financing. But this is a very useful tool. If you come to a buyer, you want X, but they're only willing to pay Y, you can use that earnout to bridge that gap. Like, hey, look, if the business does amount per month over 6 months or 12 months or 18 months, whatever the terms are, you will pay me this extra amount. And what you're doing there is you're getting more money from the buyer, but you're also helping the buyer hedge their own risk, because the reason why they don't want to pay that is because they think it's too risky. If they thought of, like, really good buyers are always okay to overpay a business, because even paying 10 or 20% more for a really good business, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. Like the guy who bought a $180,000 business from me, now selling it for 1.2 million, right? Do you think he cared if you paid an extra 10 grand on that thing? Probably not, right? So like, it's okay to like, buyers are okay to buy at premium prices for a premium business. And if you guys have that valuation gap, you can use the earnout for that. Another smart thing for e-commerce.
Quick time check there, Greg, just so that we can get to questions, because I know we're running out of time. But yeah,
sure. Yeah. So just real quick, vendor loans you can talk to your suppliers to loan you or to extend your like how often you have to pay them to like a net 90, net 120. It's another way to get a buyer into the deal. And inventory consignment, like, let the buyer just pay for your product as they sell. Literally, I sold $1 million deals that had $500,000 in inventory, and that's how we were able to get the deal done. Very, very common. And then carve out. So if you have products buyer doesn't want, carve it out, lowers the price, lets the buyer pay you more, right? So those are the big ones. And again, there's dozens of these tools. So that's just a bit of it.
Awesome. Yeah, that was great, man. You went into some really good stuff there. There's a bunch of questions, so that's why I just wanted to jump in and make sure
sorry.
That's okay. We can run a little long, and we'll get to some of the questions right now. So feel free, Greg, to share your email address in the chat, so everybody who needs to get in contact with you can. Take a second maybe and just look through some of those questions so we can pull out a few. And while you're looking, I'm going to just jump in for a second. I guess the first thing I want to say, I'm going to come back to a comment before we jump into questions, but I did go ahead and just run quick. I'll share my screen while we're looking at some questions. I ran the Cosmo readiness report for a couple more ASINs that came in. So Andrew, congrats. Here's yours. No, this is the other one, Farmer. Your overall readiness score is 46. So you've got your 56% mapping, 22% Rufus coverage. It's not bad, because you have pretty good mapping. You can improve the mapping, but your Q&A you can improve. Here's obviously your snapshot, and then we get into the details why. I'll email this to you. If you put your email address in the chat, I'll email that over to you. And then Andrew, your products, magnesium, cool. 53 out of 100, good semantic mapping. Rufus coverage needs more work. So, you can kind of look at this, and we'll show you obviously how to address it and give you actually things that you can do on your own. Or obviously, if you want to get in and use our Cosmo transformation, you can jump over and use that. Anyone here, again, if you click on that link that I gave you, this is the page you get. Fill this out. That 25% discount is available to you guys right now. Fill this out. You can add as many as you want, but you can start with one and see how that process goes. It's up to you. But I absolutely recommend that you get in and get this done. Going back to your presentation there, Greg, like, some of the things that stood out to me is, with the AI world that's happening, like, there's a level of anxiety across businesses, and people that is kind of, it's pretty intense, right? And we're seeing big businesses, merge or bring in efficiencies, and there's strong white collar jobs that are being lost, right? Big agencies merging, etc. So my gut and my feeling is, like, this idea of, like, becoming an entrepreneur, owning a business, and importantly, maybe not owning a technology business, but like an actual product that people buy, is becoming very attractive, right? And people can hedge their bets with that. So I would expect going, especially into next year, SBA loans. I see it with businesses all the time and friends, like they get the SBA loans and they're purchasing these businesses, and they're younger and they're smarter and they're driving these things up. And I've got people who've taken over, good, fashion businesses on Amazon and bought it at a low multiple and really increased on Amazon. So there's big interest.
Tough niche, but good for them. Yeah.
Yeah. And, the other thing I would say, on margins, customer acquisition costs, if you can show over time, hey, my Amazon, my sessions have been increasing, my ratio between PPC to organic is improving, my customer acquisition tacos is better, which obviously affects margin. That's really important, right? And I can tell you, if you don't do that Cosmo transformation, you're going to see your sessions going down, your organic ratio to paid ratio going down. So you need to invest in that, get that up, but also to your point, like it's that GEO, like it's going beyond, right? Like how do I, get some of these articles, the whole, PR side of it is becoming more and more critical. So it is an important piece. Yeah.
A couple of things, and I'll get into the questions, but a couple of things on what you said there. Like we actually have like a bunch of people buying marketing agencies right now. Like we just sold a $7 million one as well. Weirdly the same, very similar multiple as the FBA one I shared. But a big part of it is this whole renaissance with AI, because like typically marketing agencies are very laborious, right? You get like your agency is your talent for the most part, trading time for talent. But that's not true anymore with AI. Like if you're good with AI, you can do some amazing stuff. So I think a lot of service businesses, like digital service businesses especially, but even home services, are going to see a bit of a profit revolution there. Like I have a buddy who's spending $180,000 a month on content. Now he's spending $5,000 a month on content, right? Like it does the same thing, because like, is the content as good as the human written? Probably not, but you also don't need to be Ernest Hemingway to do the thing he's selling, right? It's not that skill set's not required. But yeah, in terms of the product stuff, I was talking to a private equity guy. I was having lunch with him earlier this year. He's like, "How do you feel, Greg, that you spent all these years being obsessed with marketing, you're going to get replaced?" I'm like, "Well, pretty great, man. I hope you're buying lunch. I'm going to need it, right?" So yeah, it's interesting times we're in. I will say, if you're afraid of AI, I wouldn't be, especially because everyone here is an entrepreneur. Like the person that's in the most risk with AI right now in this chat is me, because I'm an employee, right? People who hold equity, like if you fire yourself because you replace yourself with AI, awesome, great job. You just made your business more valuable, right? Because I always joke, if you want to sell your business, you should try to be the most useless person in your own company, because that really shows you built a machine of leverage. It's tongue in cheek, but it's true. Like they'll work on the business, not in the business, right? But yeah, do you want me to go?
There's a lot of positives there, but yeah, okay, cool. Let's jump into questions, because I know there is, we'll probably have like 10 minutes here and roll with it, but there's some really good questions. People are super interested in this space. So let's get into a couple of your questions, and I'll pick out a couple of mine as well. So go for it.
All right. Gary asked, how do you get around the fact that Amazon doesn't allow businesses to be transferred? So this is actually what I was hinting at. So back in 2016, they thought we were just selling accounts, which is against their terms of service. They don't want you to do that. But Amazon is 100% okay with you selling your business. And there's two ways you can do it. It's either a listing page takeover, where they literally migrate your listing to another account, or just the whole Seller Central, right? Which tends to be a bit easier. But every transaction we do, we have to tell Amazon we're doing it, because like, especially if they're doing a listing takeover, like they're the ones that have to do it, right? So if you do go sell your business, just know there is a tedious, painful process after with all your money being held in escrow from the buyer, because we have to wait on Amazon to actually transfer your business, which could take a while. But they do allow you to sell it. Why do you guys?
Couple other ones. Pick out some more.
Yeah. Why do you guys? This is a fast one. Why do you guys do multiples in monthly versus everyone else in the industry does a yearly, 42x versus 3.5x? The easy answer is legacy. Like when we started back in 2013, we used to sell 2-month-old websites. So that's where the monthly thing came from, and we just never changed it. We grew up as kind of like the wild cowboys of the whole M&A world. We didn't know about like there's this whole other industry already doing the thing we were doing. So now it's kind of funny, like years later, if someone says like, "Oh yeah, 35x multiple," like, you're an Empire Flippers guy, because no one else does this but us. But that's the reason. It's just a legacy thing.
Awesome. You jumped to one. I'm going to jump to two,
Sure.
and we'll just kind of ping back and forth. Here's a question from Robert. Are there any bias cons using Rufus, i.e., leaning more towards Amazon brands services than the seller? Leaning more towards Amazon brands. So, I think the question here is, and this is like a really important one. Search with Rufus, there has to be some kind of non-bias, right? It has to be objective in its opinion, because otherwise, it's not recommending the right type of products. And if you sniff as a buyer, hey, there's some biases happening here, you're not going to think it's a ChatGPT perplexity. It has to recommend products on Amazon, right? Because if they just started recommending a whole bunch of Shopify stuff, they're not giving an objective opinion. So that's good news. Like if you have a great brand and you communicate in the right way and connect with Rufus and map in the right way, objectively you should surface, right? So there is going to be some bias, and you can play around with Rufus. They'll recommend different products, and it's testing. And obviously Amazon wants to make money, but they've got to give brands a shot. It's the same as organic page, right? If you lose that experience, you lose it. Sean Walsh, how long does Rufus to recrawl the listings or to see results? Several weeks? No, it's a few days, right? We post listings and we start tracking straight away. Within 2 weeks, we're seeing changes in sessions. It's as much as your listing goes live, right? I mean, LLMs, algorithms, everything is quick, right? It's instantaneous. So you'll start to see that change, happen relatively quickly. All right, what else you got there, Greg?
Yeah. So one guy says he's launching a new product lineup in the pest control space. Reach out to me, Terrence. Happy to help you with that. Another person asked about our sellers' IP, like independent, like their own product versus white label or reseller. Most of them, it's their own like private label, like their own IP. We have sold resellers. Like the issue with resellers is like you're not going to get as big of a valuation for obvious reasons. This is not like your IP, right? But also, like, unless you have like some exclusivity with that product, like what's stopping someone from just going and doing that themselves? This is the dropship problem as well, actually. Like we sell dropshipping stores, but usually there's some exclusivity that that retains that value. So you always got to think about what's your moat. You want to keep your moat thick and deep because that's what buyers like.
Yeah, awesome. I got another one here. This is actually an interesting one. Let's see this. Oh yeah, Nick, I bought Cosmo listings from you guys. Do we upload directly, or do we transfer it to proper product file before uploading? Can we do it manually through the manage inventory tab? Just a little nervous since my listings are doing well. Don't want to lose rank sales. So it's a really good question. So the files that we give you, there's a CSV file there, and the role of you as obviously the owner is to integrate that into a partial flat file and upload that into Seller Central. You can also upload that into our listing optimizer tool. You can double check some more keywords if you want, and you can automatically upload from our listing optimizer tool into Seller Central through the SPA API. So there's two ways you can do that. In terms of like the nervousness around like, hey, if your listings are doing well and you're nervous to push the listings, there's an easy answer. You can A/B test using Amazon Seller Central platform, right? So you can A/B test. I would recommend not just your titles, do multivariate, do titles, bullets, everything on that front, and actually test that to see if performance is drop. You want to really just see if performance is not dropping, and you'll get that result, and then you'll be more comfortable and confident pushing it live. I get the hesitation. People are like, well, I don't have these keywords in my listing. Why? How can that match? But it will match you to those keywords, I guarantee you. So, you can A/B test if you want. Otherwise, push it. The thing that I would recommend is like the best thing that's going to help you is if you upgrade your images with the content and the insights we give you as well, and the overlays of copy. That's going to help you also with conversion rates and with AI readability. So make sure that you're working on your image side as well. There's a lot of gold in that, and people who push the content and the images at the same time, that's where they see the massive change, right? It's really important. Go for it. You got any more?
Yeah. So one person asked, what's a high margin business? And this changes based on every industry, but a person gave a good answer underneath, like 20-25% is pretty solid. So if you are starting out, probably above 30-40% is going to be normal. But as you scale, your margins tend to go down. If you're Amazon FBA business, like above, like doing more than 25 grand a month in profit, you're over 30%, you're in good territory there. And then I got a question from Dina. What type of online business would you recommend for a newbie to buy that's already profitable? Something very small that you will probably lose money on at first, because you don't want to waste all your money on a business you're not skilled at yet. But there's a paradox here in M&A. So what you would think is logical in M&A works in reverse. So sellers think they need to sell the buyer. It's really the buyer that needs to sell the seller, because the seller's the one with something valuable, right? The buyer only has money. But when it comes to buying a business, if you're just starting out, you're really afraid, you don't want to go big, buy a little $5,000-$10,000 thing that you're willing to lose money on, that might make only like $100 a month or something like that, just so you understand the process, like how does this work. But the thing that works in reverse on this, it is often way safer to buy a much bigger business. And ironically, you will end up using less of your money. Like those little acquisition tools I showed you, there's literally hundreds, like probably like 120 different ways to finance an acquisition without using your own money. But one of the key characteristics, it has to be a big business, because you can't finance a little tiny business, right? So as you get more comfortable with the space, then I would invite you to go bigger, because they also tend to be safer and less risky investments.
You know what's actually cool that I've seen of late with people buying businesses and being successful with it is like finding those ones where there's been a seller who's been successful 5-6 years ago, but maybe they've gone omni-channel in some ways, but they haven't moved quick enough with how technology is changing, and they've been left behind with content optimization, everything else, and they were on top of Amazon, but they're not really. And that's where you can come in as an entrepreneur, buy that business and update the technology, bring it more into today's world and get that back, right? So they've got a great product. They just haven't figured out how to stay up to speed with technology. Those are the ones you can come and take over and really spin as well, which is
extremely common, man. Like not just with FBA, but every business, even offline businesses, man. Like this is one of the reasons why a lot of buyers love buying a 20-year-old business, because wow, it's still profitable and they're still using facts. I'm gonna crush, right? It's like buying a house, right? And you could smell the mold, dirty carpet, the smell of money, right? Because you just update it, you gotta pay it. Suddenly the value goes way up. Same concept in businesses.
All right, another question here. If I have the same ASIN on US and UK, should I run a Cosmo for each? It's up to you. I would say yes, because it's going to look at markets. It's going to look at insights specific to that markets, and obviously keywords and search volume and everything else. But you can run on a one. If you see the right kind of insights, you can obviously use your discretion and transfer that over. The system is built so you can control some of the inputs on the agents, but also when you get the final product, you as the business owner will see some tweaks that you might want to make, and it's flexible that you can make those changes, right? So I think that's important. Someone said something here about competitors. Can I compare this to my competitors? Yes, absolutely. So with the Cosmo Readiness Report Score, you can run it on any ASIN you want. So run it on yours. Pick out the guys that you're like, why is this guy doing so well? Why is he getting recommended in Rufus? What's happening here? Run a score on theirs and see where they're mapping, right? That's going to give you some good insights on what you might want to do if you do it yourself, or obviously just use our technology. All right, one more question, and then I know we've run long, but go for it, Greg.
Yeah, though I saw one was our highest and lowest sales multiple for the year. My platform is messing up at the moment, though, so I'm not sure if I can give you the answer, but I think it's 58x for the year. So 58 divided by 12, that's what the other M&A brokers would say, right? But yeah, I think the biggest deal we sold this year is probably that e-commerce one, $13.5 million one. So as far as the lowest ones, we sell a bunch of sub 150K ones as well. So if you're starting out, if you want to buy something that has some meat on the bone, but maybe not go all the way into a 7-figure deal, we got tons of deals for you. So,
dude, love it, man. Well, I think last shout out Steve Wilson. He said he's bought some Cosmos and loving it. So thanks for that. But Greg, big shout out to you, man. That was epic. It just makes me, I don't know. I nod my head a lot when I'm listening to you, because it kind of makes me smile, because that's where I've been also passionate about for so long, is there's such a real opportunity for all of us to make some really good money. But if you treat it like, this, get rich quick, easy scheme, which it was touted as, 10, 15 years ago, you missed the opportunity. Or if you just decided to create a business on Amazon selling products, you missed the opportunity. But if you improved your business acumen around like, this is a real opportunity to create a scalable big business, and if I learn all the disciplines of it, I can create a business that is, way more valuable than if I didn't. That's the opportunity. You talked a lot about that today.
Oh yeah, man. I've had
it's
sellers
important.
send me a message 24 hours in the marketplace, like, dude, you changed my life. I'm like, oh, they must have got a good offer. Like, turns out they got all a cash offer for like $1 million+ in 24 hours. I'll leave your audience with one very interesting thing. So I mentioned things that you would think is normal works reverse in M&A. The people that make the most money in my industry are actually the buyers. So usually how most of my friends become buyers is they're sellers. So they sell, they have their birthday, right? Then they take that money and they go and acquire businesses that are a little bit further behind to what they already did. And unless you speed up really, really quickly, and one of the big reasons why buyers can make so much more money is you inherit the history of the 5-10-year-old business, right? So the quickest turnaround, and I don't recommend anyone to do this, but it proves my point. The quickest turnaround I've ever seen is a buyer bought a business from us, sold it again with us within an hour of buying it. We hadn't even transferred the business over to him, but it was like people were fighting tooth and nail for this thing. And he asked us like, hey, was anyone else interested? Like, yeah, a bunch. He's like, well, for an extra 50, this is a small business, by the way. It's like 120K or something like that. For an extra 15K, I'll sell it now. He's like, okay. And he sold it. Like, you cannot do that when you scratch. So I always tell people selling your business is really the start of your business if you want to go big. My sellers that go really quick, if they go really big, they sell a business and then they start buying businesses.
Amazing, man. Well, good luck, everyone. Finish out the year strong. Start to focus on 2026. Plenty happening there. Look out for, obviously you guys have first access to a lot of what I offered, ways to connect with Greg. Look out for the post email, which will be the video recording. There's going to be some offers in there from us as well, including that Cosmo Readiness Report score and how to access that, and get yourself going, and being on top of technology so you can crush it going into next year. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Greg, awesome.
Thanks for having me, man. Pleasure.